Okay, so get this. Imagine you're a top exec at OpenAI, the company that gave us ChatGPT. You're at the absolute center of the tech world. And then one day, you just quit. Not to join a rival, not to start your own company, but to work on an art project. Sounds pretty out there, right? Well, it actually happened. And today we're going to unpack this story because, believe me, it pulls back the curtain on a massive billion-dollar war for talent that is shaking the entire world of AI.
So this is where it gets really, really interesting. The official statement, according to Reuters, said she's leaving to, and I quote, pursue her personal passion of using art, music, and storytelling to help people understand the transition to artificial general intelligence. I mean, wow. That is probably the most poetic reason for leaving a high-powered tech job I've ever heard. You just don't hear stuff like that.
And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Who does that? Who walks away from the epicenter of the AI revolution for a personal art project? You just know there has to be more to this story.
All right, so to really figure this out, we need to know who we're talking about. Let's get into the details of the executive at the center of this whole thing.
Okay, so her name is Julia Villagra. She was the chief people officer at OpenAI. And look, she wasn't just some random hire. OpenAI specifically poached her from a high-frequency trading firm called Hudson River Trading. She'd been there for 16 years as their head of people. This was a huge hire for them, someone who really knows how to manage top talent in a super competitive high-stakes game. But here is where the story gets absolutely wild. Just look at this timeline. After 16 years at one company, she joins OpenAI in February. Just 1 month later, boom, she's promoted to chief people officer. And then, by August, we're talking just 6 months after she even started, she's out. That's not a swift exit. That's a revolving door. Something was definitely going on behind the scenes.
An exit that happens that fast is rarely just about one person's career choice. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of the insane battlefield she was hired to manage in the first place, what we're calling the Great AI Talent War.
I mean, think about it. The person whose entire job is to attract and keep your most valuable employees leaves after just 6 months. That's not just a minor issue. That's a blaring alarm bell that the fight for the brilliant minds building this technology is getting more and more intense.
So, how intense are we talking? Well, OpenAI's own CEO, Sam Altman, let a number slip in a podcast, a number that honestly just sounds made up. $100 million. And no, that's not a total compensation package over a decade. He was talking about a signing bonus, just to get someone in the door. That's not a welcome basket. That's like buying a controlling stake in a company.
And this is where it all spilled out into the open. Altman went on this podcast and claimed that Meta was trying to poach his people with these insane 9-figure signing bonuses. He even said he finds it crazy. Now, Meta, of course, pushed back. They basically said, whoa, hold on, the numbers aren't that generous. But just the fact that they're publicly arguing about whether they're offering $100 million or maybe just, tens of millions, it tells you everything you need to know about how fierce this is.
And Meta's not just talk either. They're making real moves. They actually succeeded in poaching the co-creator of ChatGPT from OpenAI. Now, more recently, they've claimed to be putting a freeze on this hiring spree, calling it basic organizational planning. Sure, but the volatility here is just crystal clear. The whole talent market is on a knife's edge.
So, as you can imagine, Villagra's sudden exit, it didn't just happen in a vacuum. Nope. It immediately started a chain reaction right inside OpenAI.
Right away, you have this leadership shuffle. Villagra is out, so Jason Kwan, who is the chief strategy officer, has to drop what he's doing and step in as the interim people chief. Then, the job of actually finding a permanent replacement gets handed to Fiji Simo, the new CEO of applications. It's a huge distraction, and it's pulling all these key leaders away from their actual jobs.
So why does any of this really matter? Why should we care? Because this whole bizarre story, an exec leaving for an art project, the fight over 9-figure bonuses, it all points to the single most important truth in AI right now. In this massive race to build the future, the most valuable resource isn't the code, it's not the computer chips, it's the people, it's the human talent.
Which really leaves us with this one critical question. When your competitors are dangling life-changing money, and the internal pressure is so high that an art project starts to look like a sane escape plan, can any company actually hold on to its best people? The future of AI might not be decided by who builds the best tech, but by who can simply survive this billion-dollar war for the minds that are building it.